Wow, okay, this is cool. 180 players. This is fantastic. This is cool to see. We figured we'd have the biggest Kahoot game in Ignite history right now. Who's going to help us get over this? So we are going to have prizes. So if you need any extra incentive to play, so should we do introductions first?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much. So I'm John Harrison. I used to run the threat prevention product line. I've been at Palo Alto Networks almost 6 years. I've now relocated over to Amsterdam, where I'm regional product marketing, and I'm here with
Eric Younghans. I'm a TME actually for the Wildfire and Autofocus product lines. You guys may have seen us present before. We usually do a main stage presentation like this.
This is our third year presenting together. Yeah. So thanks very much. I think this is fantastic to see so many folks. And this is my 5th year presenting, and your 4th?
My 4th, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we figured we'd go ahead and get started. No guarantees on the network. We may break the network. We're oh wow, 230 players. Okay, NetScreen, Chewy. Okay, I saw PanOS 3.0. Okay, that wins the award for one of the coolest names if we're giving points. So a couple things. There are going to be prizes. So we'll have some things that even government employees can accept. No guarantees on the network. If your phone isn't working, feel free to play with one of your colleagues there, and we will go ahead and get started. We figured we'd do a survey to kind of just kick things off and get things started. So are you guys ready? So the first question is, have you been to Ignite before? Okay, these are survey questions. No points for these. Real quick, so just, you've got,
wow.
Oh, can we have audio on this, please? We have to have the really annoying music. One thing I love about Kahoot is the really annoying music. Hopefully it's driving you all crazy, but we'll kind of do a jig while it's going. Wow, okay.
Wow.
We've got a lot of first-timers here. This is good. Okay, good. Well, this is good to know. So I guess the next question, okay, well, there's no points for this. I like all your base. Toothy Rage and back to, ooh, we got a hacker in the room. That's pretty cool. So the next question, have you seen John and Eric present before here at Ignite?
I'm guessing no, if it's the first year.
This will help us know a little bit about you guys, whether you've seen us before. If everyone's seen us before, we'll change the presentation right now. Wow. Okay, I can't believe we got so many people participating. This is cool. The point questions are going to be coming up in a few minutes. So this is just the warm-up. Again, wow, a lot of first-timers, folks. Okay. I have some folks that fly around the world to come see us no matter where we present. I had a guy come up to us in Amsterdam. Couldn't believe it. It's like, oh, you guys, okay, no, we're not that good. But again, we're up here to have fun. This is going to be educational. Let's go on to the next question. This is really going to determine how we present today. What is the best hacker movie of all time?
Ooh, got it next again.
I got to go next. This is a really crucial question. It's going to help us know a little bit about you all. And
it should be easy, right?
It should be easy. All of us are like, okay, it's blah, blah, blah. So we want to know what you guys are thinking. I think there's a number of people in the room that are still not old enough to have seen war games. And, Hackers has some interesting things. Swordfish, most amazing. What? Oh, come on. Really? No.
I disagree. I wholly disagree. That's okay.
Okay, this audience is totally skewed. Okay, I don't. Should we stop right here?
Yeah,
this is a mess. All right, so we are going to start getting into some more interesting things, kind of security related. And I hate to do. We're going to go this. Do you have workloads in the cloud? Wow, there are some fast people on the button here, too.
See how many people actually look down versus just like looking at the button.
I know. Some people are like just on the button. Yeah, I know this. Yeah. I like this. I will have workloads in the future. I have no idea what a workload is. Yes or no?
Yes. Oh,
wow. Okay, we've got a very cloudy audience. This is good to level set so we know what we're getting into. All right, let's take a look here. All right. Again, no points. I think some of these folks are pretty quick on the draw here. So,
yes.
Again, the scoreboard will start racking up. You can join in now, and I'll still keep going. So the next question, do you have inline firewalls in front of your cloud workloads?
Now the question.
Wow. What do you think?
I'm
I
going to
don't know.
say no.
I think the number of people knowing what a workload is, it's like, what's a workload? Okay, what do you think? Where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? Blue, green, yellow, red? Oh, wow. Oh, I love it. Okay, the folks that said absolutely, thank you. You win prizes. Prizes for everyone. You win a car, you win a car, you win a car. Sorry. All right, let's keep it going. All right, we're going to change things up. Another last survey question before we start doing points. This is good to know. I like the what is a workload. We got quite a few folks. Good. We've got a lot of stuff, a lot of content for everyone here. So the next question is, have you ever done a best practice assessment on your firewalls before?
That was fast.
Oh,
different amount of time.
Sorry, did I leave that in there? That was on the practice round. Yikes. Ignorance is bliss, right? It's like, yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, that SSL decryption, the app ID, nah, it's better if we don't know. Oh, okay, wow, there's a lot of people who've done best practice assessments. I love it. Okay, now this is the next round for points. And I want you to guys focus carefully here. So, which product offering is not a part of Prisma? So that was from the keynote session this morning. You should all know this. What is part of Prisma? Prisma Public Cloud, Prisma SaaS, Prisma Access, or Prisma Firewalls? Uh-oh, you got 5 more seconds. Come on, click. Come on. 340 answers. This is fantastic. There's some good folks here. Okay. Prisma Firewalls is absolutely the correct answer. All right, any guesses who's on the top of the leaderboard here? Okay.
Congrats.
You are definitely one bad person. Yes. the no-ops led, the user, I like this. And wow, I didn't know you could do icons in there. That's pretty good. With 1,000 points. All right, you guys ready for the next question? Which one of these is not an essential part of prevention? Think prevention.
I think it's going to be
Good.
pretty easy.
It's slowed down a little bit, the clicking. Okay. This is great. Thanks, everyone, for participating. I can't believe we got so many people playing. This is definitely the record for the biggest Kahoot in Ignite history.
Ignorance is bliss.
I like that. This is good, yeah.
Let's see if one bad person is still up on the leaderboard here.
Okay, any guesses? Okay, who is it? The user. Command Shift click, the no-op slide. This scary clown is, I don't like
close.
Scary clowns. All right, the number one cause of breaches is, for the last question,
Users.
Yeah, exactly, users. Don't give away the answer, that's crazy. Wow, this is good. Hey, Eric, you want to switch over monitor in a sec? All right, yes, APT 934 might be it, the ninjas in your network. That was my favorite. Passwords on sticky notes. And the winner is user. Hey, so whoever's won, please take a screenshot of that on your phone. The scary clown, I'm not sure we're going to award it to scary clown, are we?
No.
Yeah, that's
No scary clown.
kind of
No
scary.
thanks.
K-Ryan24. So after this, you'll get to come up and get a photograph with John and Eric, and you get prizes. So this was just the warm-up round. We're going to actually move on. We're going to do one a little bit later in the presentation. But let's go ahead and get into the slides. So why are we really here, folks? Yes, we want to make sure we are not driving you to drink. And this is a real article, and this is one of the things that, again, breaches and security is a really big topic, and we want to make sure that we're providing you the tools to enable you to build as much protection, as much prevention within your security solutions as possible. Leverage everything from our best practices, and that's what we want to cover here today. And so this is a serious issue. We want to make sure you're leveraging the full platform. Hopefully all of you have seen this 1,000 times. It starts off with preventing unknown threats, preventing known threats, complete visibility, reduce the attack surface, preventing known threats, then you get to the unknown threats. So you need to do all of this together to really get prevention, right?
Yep.
That's what it is.
Now, what we announced last year, John?
So last year, we announced one of the coolest products in Palo Alto Networks history. We had Aperture, we had autofocus, so we announced histogram. And the coolest thing, besides every cool security buzzword that was in here, this thing electrocuted users that clicked on those links that we all hate. And this product has been wildly successful, so we are back. Because last year, we quit to go Bitcoin mining, and the price of Bitcoin kind of plummeted. But this product has been amazing and wildly successful. Except we started off with the marketing launch, and we kind of put together this launch before the product, and we put together a site.
We kind of made some mistakes last year. We kind of led with marketing and didn't really have a product. So unfortunately, we were going through this process. We're like, oh, we should at least spin up a website and get something functional so we can actually get our product message out into the world. So we picked an AMI image last year, directly off the AWS Marketplace, spun it up, and then what happened, Joe?
It got popped.
Yeah, even though it says stable and production ready with long-term support and updates, yeah, apparently that's not the case. Funny enough, actually, this instance is no longer available in AWS Marketplace. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but yeah, I can't find this image anymore.
Yeah, so the good news is we're kind of back here. We've got, of course, Histogram 2.0 now with a mobile form factor, and we have the DNS security service and machine learning and the multi-category URL filtering support. I think.
Yeah, more buzzwords.
Oh yeah, we have more buzzwords. Machine learning 2.0, we have a lot more of that. So what do we need to do?
We learned our lesson, though. So we want to be a cloud-native security company first, really. So here's what we really wanted to do, was build out a full AWS native security stack with every functionality we possibly could. Okay, so we're starting back again. We did this last year, starting with strict inbound and outbound security groups based upon not only source but destination, protocol, port, et cetera. This year, we actually added an AWS web firewall with the OWASP Top 10 Cloud Formation template, which I read the white paper. It only took a good hour and a half for me to read the white paper, and then apply a template, which is very simple.
Yep.
We also moved into load balancers, because obviously we're going to be expecting a pretty big load inside of our servers here, so we want to make sure we have at least a good geographic dispersion. We want to have flow log analysis, which would pass over to guard duty. So basically, all the security stack we possibly could get with the network side within AWS.
I'm glad we learned a lot of stuff, and so we put it all together and made it a lot better this year.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we wanted to kind of roll out with a really nice not only security stack, but also DevOps stack. So we're using JIT, or Git, how you want to say it, specifically for source control management, using Docker for containers, obviously using Docker from basically what I consider to be.
I heard about containers this morning. Containers are good.
Yeah, especially
That's
the fact
all we need,
that we
right?
can move this from point A to point B, cloud A to cloud B, cloud C. Pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I'm going to use Jenkins, which is a continuous build and operation platform. Basically, it's going to continuously build any new changes we push into Git, and basically it's going to push out our new software code into production.
We're going to have a lot of updates for Histogram, so we need to make sure it's automated. We're leveraging automation. We want to be able to push it worldwide and get it out there. Especially, I think, we want this in a multi-cloud environment, right? We want it ready.
Absolutely.
And again, we chose, so I think we're doing this in AWS, but again, we're not picking, we could have picked any cloud provider, so just as an example and demo.
But here's our kind of a workflow, so network flow, or network diagram here. Internet goes through 6 security groups, hits the WAF, hits a load balancer, flow logs are passed over to guard duty, then we have our Docker container with an Ubuntu base, with then our actual Jenkins instance running on top of it. Make sense?
That makes sense.
Clear? Pretty straightforward?
I think that's pretty good. So that should be all we need, right?
I think that's pretty much all we need, but I'm not really too sure, John.
Yeah, I think it's time. Who is ready for yet another Kahoot contest?
Another game.
All right, did you?
I muted it.
Oh, you muted it?
Everyone rejoin.
Okay, so you got to rejoin with a different ID. And we're just, so these are all for points pretty much. And we want to, again, test your knowledge, that things that we assumed, things that Eric and I assumed as we were putting these things together to be able to, wow, we're up to 200. We got big fan. Oh, where's PanOS 3.0? Oh, I saw another checkpoint name. Should we, it's like the zombie clown. Wow, you guys are quick. Okay, the network's still holding. I like this.
Let's go ahead and get started then.
Okay, give them another quick set. Wow, we're up 300. I can't believe. Okay, this is definitely the biggest Kahoot game. Okay, these are all for prizes. We're up to almost 4. Let's get to 400. Come on. Come on, Zoltan, you can log in. Okay, those of you with 2 phones, you're not allowed to log in twice. Okay, we got. Okay, keep the names clean. Palo who? Oh, nice. Oh, you're so. This is. Oh dear. All right, are we there? Is it slowing down? It's slowing down. I think we're plateauing. Okay, everyone in? Again, no guarantees for network stability. Okay, I can't believe 433 people. I think we've peaked. Going once, going twice. Oh, there's a couple more. Sparky. We got Sparky in your paperback. I won. Pandering is allowed. You can go. Okay, let's go ahead and kick this off. All right. I think you can join 452-943. All right, the first one. Native security tools are all you need to secure the cloud.
Our native security cloud stack was pretty tight. I'm guessing.
I think we did pretty good. That is all we need.
Yep.
Wow, how do we get?
That was quick.
You guys are quick. Okay, these are.
Quick.
Oh, we should add more questions. This is pretty good. Okay, let's see if we have a new one or 2 seconds. 1 second.
False.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see who's in the lead here. Ah, Cisco tax it. Okay. Hajeed. Okay. That's the real Neo.
Second best.
Now we have a scary frog. Okay. The clown was bad enough. Now we have a scary frog. All right. The next question is, I am 100% sure I don't have any workloads in the public cloud. Think about it. I'm 100% sure I don't have. Okay, these guys are like clicking on right and left. So, and of course, we are after this. We're going to talk through the answers. So we're not going to cover them all, but okay, we got 4, 3, 2. Okay, I have no idea. Okay, that's an honest answer, and we did give you points for that. The folks that put true, okay, this will be interesting when we kind of walk through this. All right, let's see how our leader, denial, I love this, okay. As long as you're doing app ID for denial, then that's okay. So, the real Neo. Okay, the next question, compliance is more of a pain in the butt in the cloud. No, it says more of a pain in the cloud, sorry. What do you think? What do you think? Okay, 472 people playing. This is pretty cool. Okay, we got one more. Okay.
Ooh, it's almost equal.
Okay.
It's interesting.
We've got some compliance people in here. This is good. The security auditors in the room. They're going to do security checks a little bit later. All right. Let's see who our leader is. Denial. Oh, denial. Scuvis. Different ID. Okay. Interesting. All right. The next question. There is no way to determine anomalous user behavior in public cloud environments. What do you think? What do you think? No way to determine anomalous user behavior in public cloud environments. This is a whole lot better than PowerPoint slides, isn't it? Exactly.
I like that's just hovering face.
Hopefully it gets. Yeah, this is. I found the one scary guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Good
okay.
job.
This is good. All right. Denial continues to do well, and a scary egg in a frying pan? Okay, that's whatever. Okay, that's cool. The next question, there is no way to determine if an employee creates a rogue cloud account. Shadow IaaS.
This is a tough one.
What do you think? How are we going to do that? So I want you to think of the solution as you're going through this. I was going to put a humorous answer, and again, I think we have a few Shadow IaaS folks in the room here. Any DevOps folks in the room? Okay.
This will be an interesting one. It's going to get a little more difficult.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be interested to see if they have the same solutions as we do. So let's see. Oh, the real need. Oh,
wow,
we have a change in the leaderboard. Okay, so the questions are going to keep coming. Wildfire is needed for your cloud deployment. What do you think? Wildfire
it's a question
is needed.
near and dear to my heart.
And I think, yeah.
Some people still thinking about it.
This is good. What, we got up to 475 people playing. This is pretty cool. All right. Okay.
Nice. I appreciate that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So we'll walk through this. The real Neo continues to dominate. OB1 comes into third place, and the up thumb is definitely into fourth there. So cool. Let's keep it going. The next question is URL filtering is needed for your public cloud deployments.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, why would I need that? Who surfs the web from a cloud deployment?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's silly.
Everyone's answering.
Yeah, these are
fast.
easy questions. All right.
Or they're gaming the system to try and win some prizes.
Yeah, there's definitely some prizes. Okay.
Oh, good.
That's cool. All right. This is a survey question, no points. It's, are you using SSL decryption? Oh, we got the real Neo, OB1. Very cool. The next question, are you using SSL decryption today? Just, I think it's no points available for this one. So just let us know, what are you doing? Wait, SSL decryption isn't possible, is it?
No,
it's not.
No, definitely not. Never heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Interesting.
It's pretty
All
good.
right, very much a mix there. So a lot of folks that aren't. So what attacks, what would SSL decryption not help you with? Or what would SSL decryption not help you with? The real Neo in the lead, OP1. Wow, okay, we're doing good. So 4 scenarios we'll put up here. Which one would SSL decryption not help you with? So that means you are blind to all of these except for all right, we're getting close. We're getting close.
It's the real Neo
oh
is
no.
still up there.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Good. Let's go through some of these. All right. We have one last question, and the real Neo is in the lead with thumbs up, coming close.
Pretty impressive.
Limey Canuck has come onto the leaderboard. We have one last question. Which one of these is not a tool to help you with best practice assessments? Think carefully on this one. It could be a trick question. We have the security lifecycle review, the best practice assessment, the unicorn prevention assessment, and the prevention posture assessment. Which one could it be? I'm glad I gave up Bitcoin mining to become a game show host. This is fantastic. I like this. There you go. Congratulations.
So who won? Here's the question.
The real Neo. All right, thumbs up with the second. Hang on. And Limey Canuck. So again, take a screenshot on your phone and bring it up for the prizes afterwards. And let's go ahead and start getting into some of these myths.
All right. So you're DevOps guy.
Oh.
Native security is all you need, right? Right?
Yeah.
Actually, most of you answered.
That's what you told me when we set up the histogram 2.0.
That's true. That's true. So in the process of building out our DevOps process out in AWS, we were primarily using Jenkins for our primary build platform, as you guys remember back in the earlier slides. So Jenkins is a very, very popular tool. So popular that, as you can see, 33,000 instances of Jenkins living inside of AWS today, as actually of last week.
Or in US is 33,000,
oh, yeah, United States
and
specifically,
Amazon AWS is about 21,000.
Yeah, 80,000 instances total across the world, all referenced by Shodan. Again, you see Alibaba, Google Cloud, Azure, DigitalOcean. What are those top 5 organizations?
It's great for automation and getting our workflow going.
But they're all cloud providers, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of them. So of course, this tool has a ton of security advisories. This is just from 2019. I think there's like 13 or so major security advisories. Obviously, there's a plugin architecture for Jenkins. So as we saw with Drupal last year, actually that was a base vulnerability inside of Drupal itself. As we know from plugin in general, tend to be a weakest link inside of any application, especially a web app.
So these are all vulnerabilities, and
yes.
these are all bad. If the vulnerabilities are get exploited, what happens?
This.
Oh.
He's a happy guy.
Jenkins still looks really happy. That's the crazy point. So our system was up for how long?
This system was up for about 35, 40 minutes or so before we had the first pass of a scan and then a first exploitation attempt. So this is actually the Docker logs themselves in sequence, showing basically the exploitation, not only really attempt, the actual successful exploitation, and then a secondary payload, which seems a little hard to see. You see the wget in red, very small font on the left-hand side. We're going to get into how that actually all played out. But first,
but I saw a lot of articles. There's a lot of vulnerabilities in Jenkins, and bad things can happen. So this isn't good. I guess we were one of those thousands of Jenkins servers that are out there.
Yeah, unfortunately we were. Let's see an example of actually what took place when the actual vulnerability was triggered. And we're going to kind of do a little deep dive here on this. This is really important to understand how the different aspects of the NGFW actually handles different aspects of this particular adversary's workflow. So first off, you have a single adversary bypassing the strict security group, because obviously we need to expose Jenkins in some way, bypassing the WAF. So when we talk about the WAF itself, obviously the OAuth top 10 covers cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, sanitation, input sanitation, ... doesn't cover application layer vulnerabilities, right? So even though I applied a CloudFormation template specifically, in my opinion, to block some of these specific attacks, it sailed right through, okay? When they actually delivered the exploit directly to the Docker container, they popped the actual Jenkins instance, then they actually performed that wget command, which calls to a service called ngrok. Who here has heard of ngrok?
Anyone heard of ngrok?
Ooh, I see like a few hands. There's a few
okay,
hands in the
any
back.
of you using ngrok today? Okay, tell us a little bit more about ngrok. What is that?
Let me introduce what ngrok is designed for. So first off, this tool is designed specifically for DevOps and software development guys to bypass your NAT rules and your firewall rules.
Wait, so this is for the DevOps guys to get around all the security guys?
Yeah, basically.
This is a feature and a service. I love it.
It is a service.
Okay, now I understand. Okay.
Yeah, so it's designed specifically for this purpose, where it creates a proxy-based tunnel between an end user's workstation or whatever they may be running this on and an external URL. Okay? Now they also have tiers of access. So you'll see free all the way up to business. $12 a month is pretty darn cheap.
Yeah.
What you get when you go past the free tier is this: the ability of using SSL or TLS wrapped tunneling to basically allow direct access to your local instance or your local website.
So then we had little visibility it was to see the clear text one. To do HTTPS, then we're totally screwed.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the adversary's workflow, basically they were using a free ngrok account. The reason why we know they were using a free ngrok account, because it says there's only 40 connections allowed per minute to a free account.
You didn't push that to the limit, did you?
I just thought, well, why not?
Test them, make sure how many connections.
What if I just script out every single time I see a wget command with a URL string? I just keep trying to reconnect over and over and over again, so I can basically knock that guy offline.
Exactly.
Now, this adversary is relatively smart, because every single time we'd see the exploitation attempt, they'd rotate through a list of ngrok URLs. So it was never the same ngrok URL twice. And in fact, when we get to the actual payload itself, you'll see even different aspects of where it actually communicates back to.
So again, you're telling me my container server is actually essentially surfing the web and going to this ngrok. This is definitely not a good thing.
Yes.
My container and server should not be doing this.
And this, in the context of this is actually a Linux shell script, which is actually pulled down on the actual Docker instances, basically command line, and then executed. Now, when this actually executes, it does a couple interesting things. First, it tries to fingerprint the host and exfiltrate data, and we'll actually show you that portion of the actual script itself. It's going to kill competing processes. Now, what's a competing process, do you think, John?
How about other coin miners?
Yep,
Maybe some other security products installed?
So interestingly enough, there's a whole list of actual processes it tries to stop on the actual, well, basically whatever actual exploitation or wherever it actually gains access to. Now, those processes, you can see in the list, a bunch of them are coin miners. Some are other botnet, basically binaries associated with other actors, et cetera.
All my CPU are belong to us. I want to take advantage of that full system and
yes,
kick the other guy out.
The script actually pulls then two payloads. One is designed for a single purpose, the other designed for another, and I'll explain what those purposes are. So this is actually the actual script itself, or portions of the script. So you remember the first URL, ngrok URL, that was used for the ingestion of the script? This is the secondary URL, another ngrok URL, used for actually the communication. So again, we're switching it up, or the adversary is switching it up. They're moving between multiple URLs.
Yeah.
And again, every single time you see the exploitation attempt and every single time you see the script, it's actually different URLs the actual script is communicating to. So you have the host, you have the RIP, or the identifier for the actual compromised system. Then you have this interesting configuration, where it's grepping and looking for if there's actually sitting in AWS. If it is in AWS, it's going to try and grab certain files from the file system and then transmit those files externally.
So this sounds like adversaries using automation, which is exactly like we've been talking about all day.
You're absolutely correct. Now, what's interesting about this, can you guess where the ngrok service is hosted? It is hosted in AWS. So essentially what we have, if you look at the flow logs, you see an AWS instance talking to another AWS instance, which is why it's very difficult to pinpoint this particular traffic inside of this workload.
I'd probably ignore that. Normal traffic kind of going back and forth.
So we had kind of a parallel process here. One entire environment was built without an NGFW inline. We have a secondary parallel process, or the secondary environment, built with an NGFW inline. So this is exactly what we saw. So first off, we have the actual application vulnerability being triggered. We actually see two rotations of IPs. So the source of the actual scanning and then the actual exploitation came from two singular IPs for pretty much the entire week that I had this instance up.
Yeah.
Where do you think that was hosted?
Bad parts of the world?
It was hosted actually through an ISP based in London. So not only were the two IPs actually hitting my box on a repetitive basis, this actual ISP, which I contacted last week to their abuse department, can you guess how many emails I got back?
Zero. Exactly.
Hate to say that,
hey,
but yeah, it was pretty
Come on, they've got 10 gigs of bandwidth. They're in London. This is sounds like a good service to use.
Yeah, and not only that, but this resources were actually located in Prague. So what's interesting, actually, in the script, there's actually a few pieces of information written in a foreign language, which, as you can probably guess, references back to this geolocation. Okay? So not Asia Pac, not Russia, not ... It's located in Prague. Now, interestingly enough, those systems, when I started to kind of go backwards and basically try and probe them, what I find, they were actually Windows boxes. They had RDP up and running, a bunch of other different services available. So they weren't actually Linux boxes, which was really the underpinnings of my container, okay? So what's interesting, this is an email I got from AWS. It says, it's possible that your environment has been compromised by an external attacker.
Thank you for letting us know.
Now, I'm gonna stop here for a second, because what I read through the entire email, because I'm like, I wonder what information they have to identify this and tell me, because GuardDuty didn't tell me. None of the other tools in the stack told me. So how is AWS emailing me and telling me that my instance has potentially been compromised? Can anyone make a wild guess?
Machine learning.
No, it wasn't machine learning. It was blockchain-based. No. Essentially, a researcher saw my machine scanning the open internet, which was second of the two binaries. So first one was crypto mining. The second one was actually a scanner looking for other Jenkins instances to try and actually compromise.
So you were assimilated into the Borg.
Yeah, so I actually tried to find this researcher and try and email him back saying thank you, because it just kind of proved a point. AWS didn't know anything about the activity that was taking place. I didn't know, obviously I did know, but in the context of this situation, I didn't really know any details either. The security researcher emailed them. I had to actually go and tell AWS, oh yeah, this Jenkins box I had was actually compromised and I had to tear it down. Does that make sense? It's kind of an interesting little anecdote here.
Yeah. So what was really going on?
Yeah, so it turns out this was one of the two, or probably multiples now, that are actually two groups that are actively working pretty much around the clock through an automated methodology to try and compromise as many boxes as possible, which is why you see this competing process situation. We're trying to kill certain actual processes that are being run and then spin up their own. This exploitation and then delivery of script payloads literally happens almost every hour on the hour. So it keeps going back and forth, oscillating back and forth for this one particular resource.
So just a shout out to our Unit 42 folks. If you're not following their blogs, this is one of the articles earlier this year talking about the same group we were actually looking at here.
Yep. So what did we prove?
There was that question, and yeah, I think we validated it. It's definitely busted.
Yep, unfortunately it is busted.
Okay. So I think it's pretty clear here. So we've taken a look at that. So what do we do? What are some of the solutions, part of our platform, that we can help you out with? So let's start with the first. Absolutely. Having the VM series and inline firewall is absolutely crucial for your public cloud deployments. Having App ID together with SSL decryption, And then external dynamic lists, being able to pull in IOCs, whether there's IPs, domains, or URLs. In this case, pulling in those IPs to be able to do blocking would have been really fantastic. But not just having the firewalls enough, being able to configure then the threat prevention subscription for the vulnerability protection, preventing the Jenkins vulnerability or the Drupal or RDP vulnerabilities. Quick shout out for those of you who have not patched your RDP systems, please patch them today. Okay, please, please exit stage left, patch your RDP system. The next part is URL filtering. So the fact that our cloud container was essentially surfing the web, that could have been mitigated by, what was the category that came up?
It's proxy risk and avoidance, yeah. So it's
proxy risk and avoidance. So both together with App ID control applications we want to allow coming in and out of our cloud environments, but also then URL filtering, because you want to have your apt-get and your yum updates to be able to allow certain systems, so you can be really prescriptive to say which ones you do want to allow in certain categories or even geolocation. So URL filtering isn't something we normally think of for public cloud, but absolutely
or data centers as well.
Yeah.
Just as applicable in that environment as well.
Yeah, and the last one, wildfire. So wildfire is absolutely crucial. Why do I need wildfire?
Well, think about the two payloads. Those two payloads that were ingested into my system were designed for two different purposes. One for crypto mining, one for network scanning. So basically, those two payloads essentially were completely seen by wildfire, analyzed, and returned back malicious verdicts, which is your opportunity for identifying actually what was taking place on the system without waiting for the AWS abuse email to come later.
Now, since some of you have already done all of this, okay, shout out to those of you who have already done all of this. So there is then the DNS security service on top of that. But again, I'd start here and really focus on that and the DNS security service after you do that. So again, focus on these with a priority. This is absolutely really crucial. From there, if we switch by, then we've got Cortex XDR, traps, and then the Demisto solution. So Eric, talk a little bit about...
Let's talk about this a little bit. So it may sound a little bit strange, but think about the context of every single log flowing in the Cortex data lake. Now, we take that example also with traps. So now I have a causality change, so I can see exactly how a malicious binary ended at a workstation, and I can reverse my way back, okay? But let's add the layer of Demisto. On Thursday morning, I'll be doing a presentation at 9 a.m. With one of my colleagues, specifically in a playbook that actually will ingest events coming in from Cortex. So it looks for a malicious verdict coming directly from Wildfire. It will enrich the information directly from the Wildfire report, so it pulls in all the information from the Wildfire report, asks autofocus, what do you know about the binary I just saw? And then based upon the information, we'll turn around and actually add a resource into a dynamic address group. So basically, I could have automated the entire response to what I saw in the actual cloud workload just by leveraging these three tools.
Yeah, so you've got you're enabling your SOC team so you have the information there. You're automating the workflow so I could just push button, do nothing, go back for a
You
beer?
don't have to push a button.
Okay.
You connect to Cortex, and
like
basically
that.
incidents created, goes to the entire workflow, and ends with the dynamic address group.
I guess this is why you're wearing the Cortex shirt and I'm not. Anyway, cool. So let's go ahead, let's shift gears a little bit. So I think you heard about some of our Prisma Public Cloud. And if you haven't seen it, Prisma Public Cloud, just the visibility, I liken it to our firewall when we created the NGFW 10 years ago, where we all of a sudden let you control applications and give you the visibility into what's going on in the enterprise. Prisma Public Cloud gives you the exact same visibility into exactly what's going on within your workload, especially within a multi-cloud environment. It's absolutely crucial, and we'll dig down into each of those. One of the other cool new features they introduced was the Prisma Public Cloud Vulnerability Scan API. And we actually ran that. Eric, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so I took the original Docker image that was originally vulnerable Docker image that I posted up to AWS, ran it through the actual scanner, and what do you notice? There's 11 critical vulnerabilities, not only in Jenkins itself, but actually underlying base layer OS, which is an Ubuntu layer as well within the Docker container itself. So there's an opportunity here to identify early on in the DevOps process where the actual vulnerabilities are, remediate them before they even get to the actual cloud deployment. So literally here, I could have built in a script that said, don't allow this actual container to be deployed or actually built until these CVEs have been remediated.
So we've been talking about shifting left and building this in, automate this into our process so we're not deploying vulnerable images. But there's got to be other things we got to do. But this was really cool. We just tested it out last week. It's like, cool, definitely try this out.
Single line of code was awesome.
How expensive is this?
This is free.
Oh, I like free. Okay, note, free. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is a really great opportunity. I know you've probably heard about the shared security responsibility, but it just bears repeating because people still don't seem to get it. the cloud service provider, whichever one, provides security for the infrastructure. You need to bring your own security, whether it's data and application security, hosts and containers, the users, credentials, configurations. As you saw from this demo today, this is the thing. You need to be able to secure those. And again, I think part of it here, with all of us, is whether in NetOps or SecOps, it's working with the DevOps folks so they can have the agility and the speed of deploying these, but having the security at the same time. It is possible, I think, especially with all these tools that we're developing. This is cool stuff. So one of the cool things I like is Prisma Public Cloud, formerly known as RedLock, and it's giving you that visibility, again, across cloud. So whether the attack's coming in, I can actually visualize and see with the cool spinny 3D model thing to be able to then drill down. And so in this case, I can actually see whether there's suspicious IPs that are coming in, if an attacker has gotten in, where they may have gotten access to, where they're coming out, which systems are which. I can also have visibility into a S3 bucket that maybe not should be public, and all of a sudden I see public IPs coming in. So getting away from the lines of code and firewall policies to a more visual. I'm a more visual person, so being able to click on this, and the cool thing is you can double click on it to then get in and see individual nodes in your network from there.
So the example of my AWS instance talking to another AWS instance. In that flow log, you would see there's a separation between the two. They're not in the same, essentially, account grouping. So again, a very easy, nice visual way to identify things that are strange, essentially.
I like seeing the big red exclamation point hitting our system. We know we're in big trouble. So we had the question earlier. Compliance is more of a pain in the butt in the cloud. One of the cool things I like with Prisma Public Cloud is being able to have visibility into what's going on. So my individual policies that I have up here, in this case I have the AWS security group, allows internet traffic, but I can instantly see whether I'm GDPR, CIS, PCI compliant, or all the different compliance right at my fingertips across cloud workloads, across cloud accounts in real time. And so I can know exactly what's going on. I can then go and fix those. If an auditor walks into my office tomorrow, or I can send these to the executives so they don't walk in and go, are we GDPR compliant? Or how are we doing with CIS? Again, we've got thousands of cloud workloads. We've got multiple cloud providers. There may be cloud accounts we don't know about. Having that and having this at our fingertips is crucial. Nice executive report. So we have the report up there, kind of summarizes the top bad instances there. But I can actually click into this and find out, Eric?
This is my example. This is my instance that I'd actually run. So I connected RedLock or Prisma Public Cloud specifically to my instance to see what I actually failed on, even though I thought I built a pretty secure stack.
Yeah, so we got 19 failures. If I didn't know what one of those was, I can actually click in this. If you don't remember what your CC6 logical and physical access controls, you can find out what that is, and it includes some mitigation mechanisms on top of this. So that's kind of cool. So what do you think about this myth? I think this one is busted too. All right, let's keep going. Some of the other cool things that you can do, the visibility into the unusual user activity. So the one question I ask, how do you really know who's doing what? And so I like this aspect of the product, and again, since none of you can read this, let's zoom in. This is looking for people doing things they're not normally doing from places they're not normally are. So in this case, our normal user who accesses it from Seattle and Mountain View, EC2 and S3, is now connecting from Istanbul and making DNS changes. So
this is a good example of actually identifying compromised accounts within cloud environments.
Yeah.
Again, this is based upon anomalous user activity. So looking at the user activity itself over a period of time with ML, and then deciding what is anomalous from that typical stack.
This is a great reason why you need machine learning, and you can't just have a bunch of alerts, because someone logging from Istanbul isn't necessarily inherently malicious. It's looking at the individual user and what they normally do, and here it's unusual behavior. From here, we can actually drill into the vulnerabilities. So we talk, here I see the priority of the individual vulnerabilities. So it says 3 vulnerabilities, the actual CVEs, and it's, again, continually letting me know, and I can actually see, which one and like which date. So I can see, am I getting better? Am I getting worse? Did someone spin something up new that I didn't know about? But I can actually then dig into the workflow and go, oh, Eric actually made this change back on May 19th, and that's kind of what kind of blew it. And I can actually see the change. Or if a user comes in from Istanbul and does changes, I can see exactly what's going on. I also, again, being a visual person, I like being able to see from a map perspective the big red bubbles. Okay, I've got so many alerts, stuff all over the place. My dashboard's full. Where the heck do I start? Start with the big red bubbles. It's the biggest, baddest things that are attacking you. The number of incidents and issues, and start drilling in, and you can take a look, and that way you can prioritize what's going on there.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Oh, yeah, this was a really good question. I'm interested to see if you guys have the same answer as I do. So let's shift gears here. So here we're talking about setting up cloud accounts. So who can set up cloud accounts? Anyone. So essentially, Eric can set up one, you can set up one, everyone can set up one. We don't have any idea. So the Prisma Public Cloud is really cool if you know which public cloud accounts you have and you can plug them in. But what about the ones where your developers spin them up in their personal accounts? What do? I want to know what's going on. So the first thing you could do is leverage App ID. App ID together with user ID gives you visibility so I can see the individual user. So if you want a really fantastic reason for using user ID and App ID, it's right here. So I see the individual cloud accounts and I can see what's going on. But Eric's a developer. Maybe he's got the corporate account and also the personal account. Okay, how do I dig in and actually see whether you've turned to the dark side and you're using your personal account more often? So, okay, this is pretty cool. Our engineers actually built custom vulnerability signatures that are unavailable from GitHub to be able to detect the AWS, Azure, and Google information you need to be able to feed into Redlock.
But what are you missing, John?
I know.
You're missing one piece. What
Well, doesn't this just magically work?
No.
I think we need SSL decryption to do this. If you want one really good reason to do SSL decryption, here's yet one more really good reason. And I need to be able to have visibility into which AWS, which GCP, and which Azure, Alibaba Cloud accounts I have in my organization. And so when I put these in and go ahead and fire, what do I get? I get a packet capture with the interesting blob, whether it's the account ID, the project ID, things like that. Okay, that's not really helpful, right? A bunch of blobs. So what did our engineers do? They actually took that information, they actually fed that into the Cortex data lake together with the log collectors, wrote a Python script, fed it into Kibana, and then all of a sudden they've got it instrumented here so you have instant visibility into which accounts are actually coming up. So you can start labeling and tagging them. Oh, this is Eric's corporate account. Let's tag that. That's going to be my tolerated public cloud account. Oh, this one, I have no idea. Let me start tracking that down. And so all of a sudden, you're going to have visibility. You can start plugging those into Redlock and be able to get an idea. Tolerated, untolerated, unsanctioned, kind of go from there. Build out real quick. From here, what do we do with this? We've got this information. Can we actually control the users a little bit?
We can.
Okay.
So through the use of header insertion with an 8.1 feature, we can now start controlling when a person attempts to log in to a personal iteration of that particular cloud app. So this example with Google, we're basically inserting in an actual header and saying, you can't actually log in to your own personal version of X, Y, and Z.
Oh, so this is actually what you get, right?
Yeah, you get a message basically saying you can't sign in. You have to talk to your network administrator. So this is a perfect example of taking the information you have from the custom vulnerability signatures, tagging that information all the way through, and then implementing a policy change to actually prevent a user from actually accessing.
So the vulnerability signatures are currently up on GitHub. We will be working on publishing those. I believe the scripts and the Kibana scripts are also in the GitHub repository. So look to us rolling this out. We want to enable you, and so this is one of the big things that our engineers put together. So shout out for our sales engineers actually over in the UK who built this. So I think this one supports our busted theory here.
Also busted.
So we talked about, let's shift gears. So we talked about SSL decryption, and I think we realized that SSL decryption is absolutely crucial. You saw in the Cortex session talking about the variety of different attacks, and so Cortex focuses all across the board. If you are not doing SSL decryption, you are absolutely blind to many, many simple attacks. 99% of these attacks can be prevented with the right tools. One of those right tools is SSL decryption. This is absolutely crucial for you to use every single day. And so if we take a look in, if we look at the amount of encrypted traffic out there, up to 80% of traffic that's out there, a lot of malware families use it for delivery, whether it's Upatra, Emotet, or various ransomware families. We're talking millions and millions of samples and pretty common delivery vectors. Eric, you want to walk through this?
This is a good example. So this is a typical workflow for Emotet, which is a financial-based Trojan, which has a secondary delivery of TrickBot. So this example here, typical delivery through email, SMTP or Office 365, typically also encrypted in most environments. You have typically a web link directing over to an actual Word document itself or something similar. That typically also can live as an SSL encrypted website, URL, et cetera. You have the Word document itself being pulled down and executed by the user. Typically, that's a PowerShell command to actually go out and grab a then next payload, which is a binary coming from, yet again, another SSL encrypted site. Both Emotet and TrickBot actually have a tendency, or have commonly used, again, SSL encrypted sites specifically for command and control traffic.
Yeah.
So again, different points in this chain. If you do not have SSL decryption in line and decrypting, you will not see
These
majority
are
of
pretty
this.
basic attacks. And we saw samples hosted on Google Drive, hosted on AWS, hosted on sites. Is it easy to get a certificate for a website these days?
Let's encrypt.
Oh boy. Okay. Thanks.
Easy. Automate.
Yeah. So, and again, the MITRE attack framework also kind of underscores this. The delivery, the exploitation, the control, and the maintain, the exfiltration here.
Yeah, all requires SSL decryption to see any piece of this stack.
So hopefully everyone's going to do SSL decryption. There are a number of fantastic sessions and resources we put together. Arun presented yesterday on SSL decryption best practices. One of the things that I say, you saw Ash and Nick talking about SSL decryption, the multi-category URL filtering. One of the things I start with is what you don't want to decrypt. So there's government financial sites, healthcare. Go ahead and set those aside. Don't do this. Another thing is start with what you want to block. I think sites with self-signed certificates, anyone want to let their users connect to expired certificates or untrusted certificates that are out there? That's a no-brainer of low-hanging fruit we want to make sure we're preventing. The next low-hanging fruit is the unsafe website. So unsafe TLS versions. TLS 1.0, anyone? And it's piece of cake to crack. And so that's one of the things that you can say, just take that out. Then you start putting your SSL decryption, decide where you want to start. And again, you heard in the best practices in the previous session, starting with high-risk URLs, recently compromised sites, some of the dynamic DNS sites and things like that. So we've got a lot of fantastic resources that have been put together, and we'll have some things in our notes here. All right, we are getting to the end. The one last thing, the best practice assessment. If there's one thing that I'd also like you to do, run a best practice assessment. You're going to find out exactly where you are relative to the Palo Alto Networks best practices. Today, you can use this then as a map to say, here's where we want to go. We take out this simple one. So things like creating the DNS sinkhole. That's a 30-minute thing. Go ahead and do this. Enabling user ID, including SSL decryption. Some of these may be projects that we want to have longer time, but you want to do this on a regular basis, whether it's quarterly basis, monthly basis. You can start measuring your progress and the number of rules that you actually have, and you're leveraging this. These are really some fantastic tools. If there's partners in the room, and again, if you're not capable, work with our partners, work with our professional services. There's a lot of free tools that are out there to be able to do this. Eric, anything else?
This is also a great way to measure over time your success in your policy decision-making process and show your management, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm working on, and here's why I'm doing it. So a really good example of really being able to leverage, obviously, the work that you're doing and really turn around with real security outcomes as a result.
Shall we get to the summary?
We should.
All right. It's pretty simple, folks. Let's start with deploying inline firewalls for all your public cloud environments, making sure they have the threat prevention, wildfire URL filtering, and then the DNS security service, things like App ID, things like SSL decryption. It's absolutely crucial. It's really essential to have these. The other part is really the consistent visibility between not just your cloud firewalls, but also your remote access sites, your branch offices, your headquarters, your data center and private cloud, so you can have those very consistent rules across all your rule bases. And then, if someone's in your public cloud and has a connection back to your data center, you can say, oh, here's what I want to do. Schedule a Prisma public cloud proof of concept for your visibility, compliance, control. Prisma Public Cloud is absolutely cool. I think you definitely will find a lot. You'll get a lot out of it really quickly. Just enable it, turn it on, and get it going. Yeah, there's a number of sessions here. I think Ram is doing one on Thursday. There's a number more Prisma Public Cloud hands-on workshops. See it in the expo hall downstairs. Go find out more information about that. The next thing, start decrypting traffic. If you're not, then start. If you are, make sure you're doing decrypting in a lot of the right places and things you may not think. If someone's inside your data center and exfiltrating data out, you want to make sure you have visibility into what's going on. And then the last thing, take a best practice assessment. It's a really fantastic tool. So take a look. Here's a couple of resources here. There's a lot of things with the Beacon app, the documentation, a shout out to our documentation folks. So docs.paloaltonetworks.com. Eric?
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, everyone. All
Have a nice
right.
evening.